So it's kind of an unwritten rule with this podcast that the only partners we work with for these promos at the beginning of the episodes are, organizations, venues, bands, labels, businesses, anything that I kind of personally promote and agree with and would like to support. And if you're a regular listener to the podcast, especially to the live episodes, you've probably heard me complaining or Ryan making fun of my old man knees. So basically, I have arthritis in my knees, and until now, I've never really had anything that will deal with the pain. A friend recommended that I try a CBD product on my knees. CBD is a non-psychoactive component of the cannabis or hemp plant. I tried it on my knees, and it was unbelievable. I can't say enough good things about how well this worked. As someone who does a lot of walking, especially outdoors in inclement weather in Winnipeg, it's night and day in terms of my ability to just go and do what I want, and without having to deal with any annoying aches and pains in my knees. So I'm very happy to bring on Low Cloud as the newest partner for Witchpolice Radio. Low Cloud Incorporated is Winnipeg's premier legal CBD online retailer. They carry a wide variety of products from CBD oils to vitamins to pain relief to even skincare. They'll ship right to your door, no medical card or green card needed. You just have to be 18 plus. All of their products are derived from industrial hemp, and their products are rated top 3 in the world for purity, sitting at 99.9%. Check out their website lowcloud.ca for testimonials in their blog, for some great educational pieces, as well as their massive variety of products. They ship Canada-wide and also do local private delivery. Please use my code CBDWitch for 15% off your first order. Friday, March 16th and Saturday, March 17th mark 2018's edition of Manitoba Metal Fest, brought to you by Ninja Cat Productions and the Park Theatre. This year's lineup features bands like our friends in Cancer Bats, a one-time only reunion show of Damascus, Waster, Inverted Serenity, Escape from Echo Base, and Malevolent Hand, and that's only the first day. On the Saturday, you have Demolition Hammer playing their first time ever in Winnipeg, Skeletal Remains, Endless Chaos, Untimely Demise, Skunk, and Rectify. Tickets are available online at Ticketfly, or locally at the Park Theatre, or Into the Music Osborne.
You're listening to Garbage Hill, Winnipeg's first podcast network.
Welcome to Witchpolice Radio. I'm your regular host, Sam, back once again at Robin's Donuts. This is going to be like the 5th or 6th time in the past few months lately, but it works as a place for doing interviews, so it's kind of cool. I'm here with Ronnie, who, I've seen your name around a lot.
Oh, right on.
And I think I first heard of you, I think I'd seen stuff on the internet, because I always try to scour the internet and find whatever local music I can, whatever genre, right? Mm-hmm. And I think the first time I really heard of you, you were on Team Steve episode.
Yeah.
I know those guys. They've been on my show and all this stuff. Known them for years, or one of the Steves anyway. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I first kind of heard who you were, and I was like, oh, cool. And that was an interesting episode of their show, right?
Awesome, yeah.
So I heard of you there, and then I've kind of just you seem to pop up quite often. Whether it's just like I see a video on a timeline or a poster for a show you're playing, or I'm good friends with Greg Arcade.
Oh, nice.
So
yeah.
You come up, the bands you're gonna come up in conversation with him, and so you seem to be kind of happening a lot. And so my main kind of knowledge of who you are is as a guitar player, and as someone who is kind of at a higher level of guitar ability than most people. I mean, a lot of people play guitar, myself included, but you seem to have taken that to kind of a pretty high level as an instrumentalist. So where do you come from musically? Where does that come from, that background?
Well, first I want to say I'm very grateful to be on your show. I'm a huge fan. I've listened to so many episodes, so this is really exciting.
Awesome. I appreciate that. Thanks.
It's really exciting for me, so thank you. It's just, it all comes from, I started playing guitar when I was, 15 years old.
Okay.
And it all comes from junior high, actually. We were in these things called tags where they had the grade 7 kids, the grade 8 kids, and the grade 9 kids, and they're trying to get everybody to get along, right?
Okay.
And one of my tag, I guess, teammates or whatever, she had a Guitar World magazine.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and they're the coolest things.
It's got the songs in the back.
Yeah, the transcripts and stuff. And I never really paid attention to the guitar, and I remember she flipped to a page, and I can't remember what type of guitar it was, But I just fell in love with it, and I was like, that looks like the coolest thing ever. Okay. And my mom listens to like Iron Maiden and AC/DC. Really? Yeah, she's total rock and metal. And
did you grow up with that stuff? Like, was that always playing?
Oh yeah. Always like there'd always be like AC/DC or just like all this killer music. Yeah. And then my dad loves country music, so I always heard like the craziest guitar playing, like Chicken Pickin' and stuff.
Right. Yeah.
So then I asked for a guitar for Christmas, and my parents got me and my brother one.
Cool. An acoustic or an electric?
An electric. Okay. It was like a rocker starter kit from Walmart.
Right on.
And it
came, like a little amp and stuff?
Yeah. It came with the amp and the Strat, the whole thing. And I remember when I held it for the first time, my entire life up to that point, I didn't have like a thing I connected with.
Right.
And as soon as I felt my fingers touch the strings, I was like, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life.
Cool. Is that clear right away? Like,
very, very cool. Just the feeling I got from playing, even though like I knew nothing.
Yeah.
I knew that I wanted to commit my whole life to trying to learn, because you'll never learn everything, but trying to learn as much as I could.
When was the first time you actually played in a band? Like, how did you get from being a kid, kind of learning as much as you could and soaking it in, to actually performing with other people?
Well, one of my childhood friends, who's still one of my best friends to this day, Jeremy Northway, we were in Taekwondo together, and every class after Taekwondo, we'd bring our amps and guitars to the class, and we'd start playing, and he'd show us. I couldn't play anything, but he was fantastic. He could play so many things, so he showed me some stuff, and I actually started a band with him and Keith Pinchbeck, who actually drums for Black Cloud.
Right, yeah.
It was me and Keith and Ryan Kivenhoven. And we started our high school band called Case of Suffocation. It's a total metal band.
Good name, yeah. It's a very metal name, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And we did that thing. We would practice at Keith's in the city, and it was fun. It was good to... I think it's important when you're starting out to have that goal and be with friends or someone who has that common goal.
Well, because then it's fun as well as developing skills too, right?
Yeah, exactly. So then... just started playing with them, and then we kind of all went our separate ways for a little bit. Then we got into high school. We reformed the band under a new name, Case Reborn.
Okay.
And then that's when I started playing guitar for Crazy Madness.
Right.
I'd actually met them before a Black Label Society show.
Okay, that makes sense, because those guys are very tied into that whole sort of,
Yeah. So then I played with them for a little bit, and then when I turned 18...
So you were a teenager still when you were playing with Crazy Madness?
Yeah. I was 17, about to turn 18.
Okay.
Then when I turned 18, I started playing in my first kind of bar band, if you will, and we started playing bars. The first bar I ever played was the Merchant Selkirk, which is like my second home.
Right. I feel like a lot of people from Selkirk, that's kind of their place, right?
Yeah. And then we played all around. We played the Zoo and Aussies, and then eventually that broke off, and I won't get into like every single band.
Sure, no, you don't need to.
But that was the beginning. It's always been a constant. Like, no matter what I've done, I've always tried to get into a band and be in that situation.
Right. Is it more so that you're trying to get into bands that other people you've already established and kind of just add what you can to their stuff, or is it more starting your own projects and going from there?
Well, that was the thing at first. I always had the mentality of like. I have a lot to learn, so at the very beginning I wanted to join somebody else's band and kind of see how it works, and maybe my dream was to always start my own band, which I have now.
Which you've done now, yeah.
And then so all the way up until that point was just learning as much as I could, and I'm still learning, obviously, to this day, but just learning as much as I could, playing in other bands and writing with other people, and it was a lot of fun.
How did you, how old are you now, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 25.
Okay, so it's not that long, really, since you first took up the guitar, right? Mm-hmm. Like, how much time do you put into practicing? Just because, I mean, you have videos online on your own YouTube page and everything, too, of you just, like, shredding like crazy. And, like, a lot of people can't do that if they've been playing for 20 years. So, like, either you're just naturally gifted in it, or you put in, like, a ridiculous amount of practice. Like, is it a combination of the two, or how did you develop that? Because that's... A lot of people play guitar, like I said, but that's an unusual kind of skill to have, right? Like, I mean...
Well, thank you very much for the compliment. It never came easy for me at all. I struggled very much at the beginning of playing guitar, it was just a lot of time. It's putting the time in. At least for me, I would never say I was naturally talented.
Right. Well, some people, they pick up whatever instrument. It's just they're amazing. Yeah. That was I was awful. I was so bad. But I dedicated every second I had. I didn't go to parties or anything. I would put in like 14 to like sometimes even 24 hours of playing. Like, I wouldn't put it down. That was until I had to get a job. Right. Then you have to put it down for a little bit. Yeah.
Well, not always. I'm not proud. I would skip work and school to play guitar.
Right.
Now with rent and bills, that's not possible. But
sure. Yeah.
But even to this day, I still practice like as much as I'll get home from work and I'll practice probably until like midnight, 1 in the morning, and then get up at 6 to go to work.
Is there what kind of stuff are you practicing? Is it just your own compositions, or are you just kind of playing over other people's stuff? Or
at the beginning, it was all scales and all the scales and the theory and just kind of getting a grasp of the instrument.
Did you have any musical background at all before that, or
No, nobody in my family really played music except for my uncle. He played drums, and he played for a lot of people around the city. But other than that, I don't really have that much of a musical background, so it was more so my own motivation, my own drive to learn.
That's cool. And then, so when did you? So after Crazy Madness and all that stuff, first of all, not to dwell on Crazy Madness, I have talked to them on the show before. People can listen to that if they want to. But did that? I mean, those guys are mostly quite a bit older, and they've done a lot of touring and just a really heavy amount of shows. What did you learn from that as a teenager in a band like that? Did you tour with them at all? Or
I didn't tour with them, but one thing I really appreciated about Patrick was his dedication.
Yeah, for sure.
That's something. That's a lot of times when I played in other bands, other people's bands, I saw the dedication, and that's a lot of what I took from playing in other people's bands is the dedication that you need to go on and play in either your own project or just to keep paving your way in music.
Right, just that level of seriousness, like one step above, just do it for fun, right? I guess. Yeah. what was next after Crazy Madness? I mean, and I know you were playing in Reckon So. When did that come about? I mean, that's a little bit of a different sound too, because they've got the Southern Rock sort of thing happening, right? And,
it's actually a long time away. So after Crazy Madness, I went to play in Dead Link, which was like my first rock bar band.
Okay.
And we played like the Curtis, the My Band Rock stuff, and we played like Ozzy's, the Zoo, the Park Theater and stuff.
Okay.
And then eventually we all went our separate ways. And then I started playing in a band called Laika, which was a melodic death metal band.
Yeah, I think I remember the name for sure. I don't know if
Yeah, they were. That was kind of like my first like taste of like a super. Well, I wouldn't say like the other bands were super serious, but that was like I went on tour with Laika.
Right.
We went on the road, and there was a lot of really big stuff, like kind of around that band, like label, like recording and label and stuff,
right.
like just like the stuff where it's like, holy smokes, like
this is actually happening kind of thing. Yeah.
So then I played in that band for a couple of years. We toured, and then I started my own band, my own like metal band called Blackhearted. And then we played around, and those guys in that band are the guys I'm playing with now.
Oh, cool. Okay.
But we're under a different name called Ronnie, Ladobruk, and the Electric.
Right. Okay. Cool. Yeah. And so, like, what kind of? I mean, I know obviously metal and metal related genres seem like they're a pretty common thread in sort of what you've been talking about, even going back to when you were a kid, the Iron Maiden records and stuff. But is that your stuff? I mean, is that your jam, metal, basically, or? Yeah.
Well, I love I love metal and I love rock, but it's just anything with guitar. I'm in love.
Right.
And anything with a guitar, I'm into. So.
Right. So it doesn't make a difference as long as the guitar. So even instrumental jazz with guitar, you cool with that? Like,
I love instrumental jazz.
Yeah.
I love it all. Yeah.
Is that? I mean, not necessarily jazz, but I mean, have you ventured down some of those other areas with your own playing? Like, have you tried? Oh, cool! I'm going to check out this, gypsy jazz album of the '30s or something. Like, are you messing with that stuff or? Yeah,
for sure. I try to be as versatile as possible. Like. I filled in for like country bands, blues bands, rock bands, pretty much anything that allowed me to learn and to keep growing as a musician. But like the instrumental route I went, actually, I'll give you the song to play is I have an instrumental shred song called Armageddon.
Okay, I think I heard that on your YouTube page. Yeah.
Thank you for listening to that. Yeah, that's. That was really fun. That was a cool avenue to go down because I love like Jeff Loomis and Jason Becker and those guys. Like, just crazy guitar playing that really shows like just virtuosity.
Yeah, for sure. One thing about that kind of stuff is I think that I definitely do listen to some instrumental stuff that is like that, but I think that it has maybe, I don't know if it's a reputation or a tendency toward overkill. You know what I mean? Like some of that stuff, it'll be just, okay, now that you've gone too far with the wanking, it's like you gotta just relax a little bit. Like, is that ever a concern that you've just gone way too far with the lead stuff? Or
well, it's never a concern for me, but when you're thinking about the audience, it's something to think about.
Like, is there a time limit for a guitar solo? Or?
I would say no, but no, there definitely is. It's sometimes you gotta, when you're writing that stuff, you have to take a step out of the guitar player mold and look at what the audience would like.
Yeah. Well, as far as what you just said, writing that stuff. I mean, how much of that, if you're soloing, or if you're doing an instrumental piece, how much of that is written and how much of it is improvised?
When I wrote Armageddon, it was all pretty composed, except for a few parts. But I knew any way I took those parts would be good if I improvised over them. Like, it would just be fitting. So,
is it like broad strokes and then you fill in the rest, or is it just like literally note for note pre-written?
It was like broad strokes. It's like I know I'm gonna go to like a C chord here or a D here. And,
cool.
I know that the melody is gonna go like stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. I always wonder about that because especially with jazz. I know you're not a jazz artist, but I mean you clearly listen to some of it. Whenever I'm talking to jazz musicians, I'm always fascinated about how they do that because you'll be listening to something. There's like 7 guys and they're all playing something crazy, and then all of a sudden like right back into something clearly written.
Oh,
and that kind of shit, like, it just blows my mind every time, because it's like, how did you know? Like, they've been playing for 20 minutes, and all of a sudden, like, boom, right back. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Those guys are on another level. Those guys and girls are on another level. Like, I remember I went to watch a Soul Night at the Cavern, and it was like the craziest guitar. It was like Aaron Shore, Chris Ulrich, Joey Landreth was there. But and I remember watching Aaron Shore warm up before. Like, I was like the only one in the bar, and they're setting up, and he was doing these jazz licks, and it was like, oh my god, how is that possible? Like, that's just crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's that's one style of music I want to study more is jazz. For sure.
Well, I feel like that opens up a lot of other weird doors too, right? I mean, once you get this, your head around some of that stuff, it probably leads you to all kinds of crazy things.
Yeah, it's like the musical brain goes crazy, like just hearing the different side roads you can go down.
Yeah, for sure. When did you start singing as well? Because you do vocals in your current band, right?
Yeah. So after Deadlink, we all went our separate ways. I always dreamed about singing. I think the first album that I kind of focused less on being like the super, like, there was a point where I wanted to be like the fastest, shreddiest guitar player.
Right.
I think the switching point for me there was Richie Kotzen's Into the Black album. I don't know if you know Richie Kotzen.
I know the name for sure.
Oh, he's unreal. I think when I heard that album, I kind of started thinking like, I really want to sing.
Yeah.
That's like, I think, like, at the time, I knew my voice wasn't the strongest, but I knew if I could practice, like with a guitar, if I practiced, it would get better.
It'd get better, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so then I started touring around with it, and I started writing my own songs and stuff at that point, and adding vocals. It was okay.
Right. Well, it's your first attempts at it, right? So yeah.
Yeah. But I always knew the potential was there if I wanted to go after it. So that's when I started dabbling in it. And then when Black Hearted started, that's when I first fronted the band. I actually got a really cool story here.
All right.
So the first gig we ever did was at, I think it's called Pierre Elliott Trudeau School in Transcona there. My friend, she was putting on a benefit, and we played, and it was the a cappella group, Those Guys.
Okay, yeah.
And then it was us them on one stage, us on another stage. So we played, and that was like an entire gymnasium full of people.
Yeah,
the
that's
first
cool.
Time, it was cool, but I was scared shitless. It was the first time I had sang in front of a crowd.
Oh, really? And it was a big room full.
Room full of stuff, and of course we're doing all these covers, like Rockin' in the Fruit, like stuff I knew I could kind of pull off while playing it.
Right.
So then we do Sweet Child of Mine, and I don't know why I wanted to do that song, but my voice wasn't ready for it. So it's not the greatest, and I'm trying to stay positive. In my mind, I'm like, that self-doubt comes in. You're like, oh, you're taking it, but you're still playing it.
Were you doing like the lead guitar stuff too? And I think that's got to be tricky because
it was very tricky at first to kind of get it down. So that didn't help either. I'm trying to focus on doing two things.
Yeah, for sure.
And I remember I caught the eye of one person in the crowd who was obviously mocking me. Singing Sweet Child of Mine, and I remember just thinking, I'm like, oh man, maybe I'm not cut out for singing and playing. Like this isn't for me. And I remember feeling super discouraged after that gig, and this man came up to me after, and he shakes my hand. He's like, that was fantastic. Oh, cool. You guys are great.
That's awesome.
He was so nice, and he was like, you got a great voice, and your guitar playing reminds me of my son. You just remind me of my son so much. Now he's a professional musician, and he plays around, and I'm like, oh, who's your son? And he's like, Derrick Godfrey. He plays in Harlequin. He's the guitar player of Harlequin. So I met John Godfrey that night. It was a very, very cool moment. So then I started getting a little more confident. I was like, okay, well, I know I can do this. So then I started practicing more, and it started getting better and better and better. And then I started recording. We recorded an album called Insanity Played, where I wrote all the songs and I sang played the guitar, sang the vocals, and then I realized that it's possible. I hope that wasn't a long one.
No, it's good. It was interesting. Do you? Obviously, it's got to be different writing for a song that's you're playing guitar and singing versus just playing guitar, right? Mm-hmm. Is there a major difference when how you approach just the planning of the song? Beside the obvious, right?
Well, my main thing is you wanna. For me, I'm always trying to learn and get better. So if my ability isn't there right now, I try to cope with that. So if I'm singing the song but I have to play it on guitar, maybe I'll hold a chord instead of doing a
right, just to get used to it kind of thing.
Yeah. And then eventually when I feel more confident in either the guitar or the vocals, I'll add something. So it becomes easier, but definitely you want to write something that is possible for you at the time.
Well, I guess it's like anything, right? Whether you're playing piano, drums, guitar, bass, singing just has a whole different dimension to it. Mm-hmm. But I think a lot of people, I think often people who are kind of virtuosic guitar players and they sing too, I almost find the singing more interesting because it's when someone is known for one thing. Hendrix is a good example, right? I love his singing voice, and I don't think he gets nearly enough credit for how good his I don't know if it's technically good or whatever, but how cool his vocals are. Because it's just everyone's so focused on the guitar playing, right? So I think it's you can almost use it as a secret weapon, right? If you know how to sing and people are focusing, oh, look at this guy play guitar, you have that kind of in the back pocket. It's kind of a cool thing to throw at them, I guess, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. And I totally agree. Hendrix deserves way more credit for his vocals.
Yeah, I love his vocals.
It's just beautiful. For me, he's the be all end all for me. So he's everything he does is gold. So but you're totally right though. But that's a good word for its secret weapon, because even if you're a guitar player and you want to go join somebody else's band, doing backup vocals and having that extra voice in the band, that's a huge thing.
It definitely changes the sound. It makes it just deeper and fuller, and
and I find I've done session work or filled in for bands where having that background vocal is necessary. And It's just a good thing. I recommend any musician learn how to sing, or because everybody's got a voice, right?
Right.
Like,
whether they know how to use it or not is one thing, but
yeah.
You could probably pick it up unless you're completely tone deaf, right?
Exactly.
Even then, it might sound cool.
Oh yeah, no, it's like I think it's beautiful. Like I always thought it's so cool. Everybody has an instrument in their voice, and even if somebody's like, oh, I don't know how to sing, like your voice is still unique to you, so it's gonna sound nice to somebody. Like,
and you can make something cool come out of it, whatever. Yeah, depending on how you use it, right? Yeah,
exactly.
For sure. So one thing I didn't ask you about, and I'm sure you probably have been asked about this every time you've ever done an interview, but the Canada's whatever it was, Canadian Idol, Canada's Got Talent thing. I saw the video. I was watching the video of that today, and it's funny. First of all, just because it's a weird situation to be in, I guess. Yeah. But you come out very super confident, and it's funny because you were saying earlier, you're playing that show in this school gym, and you're nervous, but you don't seem to be nervous at all. I'm sure you were, but just in the video of that, you seem like very much like, okay, here I am, here it goes, and then. So what was that like? I mean, you're young in that too, right? Yeah, I was 18 at the time of that. And that was a super weird kind of thing. Like, I applied for it as a joke. Like, I thought I wasn't going to get on. But, like, I wasn't... At the time, I wasn't doing anything big, really. Like, I was just kind of practicing at home. I had written a few songs. It's kind of like, I gotta start hustling. I gotta start getting my name out there. That's a pretty good way to do it.
Yeah, I was
pretty high profile anyway.
Yeah, I was like, that was my thought. I was like, I'm gonna do this as a joke, and if it happens, it happens, and if it doesn't, whatever, I'll probably start another band or play in another band right away.
Is that maybe why you come across as confident, because you don't really care? Like, is it sort of that?
No, that's all good. I was actually super. Well, I wasn't nervous, but I'll tell you.
Sure, yeah, go for it. Yeah.
So then I remember I came back from a trip with my dad, and I looked at my emails, and I got an email that says, you've been selected to come do the producer tryout of the show.
So that's not in front of the audience, right?
That would just be in front of the producers of the show and a few other people. So I remember I just started working at Club Regent Casino at the time.
Yeah, I think you said something about parked cars or something there, right?
Yeah. That was, and like, at the time, just turning 18, I was like, oh, I got a good job at a casino. I don't really want to ask for time off. And I was like, maybe, in my mind, I'm like, maybe I won't do this. Like, maybe. Yeah. But then I was like, it's a good opportunity to get the name out there.
It's huge, yeah.
So I asked my managers, and they're like, yeah, you can have half the day off to go do it. So I go with my grandma and my mom, and I have this little, I don't even think it was 50-watt Marshall amp. Okay. And I have
one of those little portable things.
Yeah. And I remember it's so funny because I'm just standing in line with my guitar and my amp, and there's this entire Winnipeg Convention Center full of talented people who have either they're singers or dancers and I remember looking around and I'm like, wow, I do not deserve to be in this room right now. So anyways, we get split into our groups, and I remember everybody in my group, there's 12 people. They do their thing. Everybody was so talented. I wish I could remember everybody's name because they all deserve to.
Did any of them go on to big things? Or someone probably did, I guess. But this.
Yeah, well, I remember this one guy. I think he was a rapper. I've seen him around. I can't remember his name, but he was super talented. Very amazing. But I remember I plugged in my amp, and I'm standing in front of these producers, and my hands are shaking, and I'm like, oh my god. Yeah. But then I'm like, you know what, you just got to do it. So I do Eruption by Eddie Van Halen.
Okay.
And then I add my own things into it. And after the producer, he's like clapping, he's like, and I'm like, oh man, they probably have to do that. But then the guy says, you remind me of Randy Rhoads and Eddie Van Halen. And
that's what you're going for, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, well, that's a good sign. It's like Randy Rhoads. And so then they're like, oh, we'll let you know. So then a month goes by, and then I get an email saying you're going on to the TV round.
Cool.
So I remember driving into the city, and I didn't have a big amp at the time. So I had to borrow my buddy's PV 5150 amp. Okay. And I just remember getting to the Pantages Playhouse, and I never played a place as big as
Yeah, it's huge, yeah.
So then I'm wheeling it in, and it's on this big stage, and there's like the pillars of seats and stuff.
Yeah.
I remember sound checking, and the crew's like, "Oh, that's sick!" It is like.
Well, because I've probably seen a bunch of people doing like Mariah Carey songs or whatever, right? So
yeah. So it's a little change of pace. So then I remember sitting in the green room and just meeting like some of the most talented people ever. Like I actually talked to they were known as Legs at the time, but Moontan.
Oh, right on. Yeah, they were there too.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, they auditioned. And I talked to them. They were such nice guys.
Were they the same kind of thing as they do now, or was it something different?
I didn't get to see them play. I just saw them. I just talked to them. And then I met Kelly J. DeVoe.
Oh, yeah, that guy. Yeah.
He was there, too. He's a super nice guy.
The guy's a weird cult following.
Yeah. I love it so much, though.
I can't decide whether, like, I can't decide how serious he is or his fans are. Like, it's like a mixture between this, they're in on the joke or he's in on the joke. I don't know.
all I can say is he was a super nice guy.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
A sweetheart of a guy, very nice. Sagin's Finest, who actually won the Canada's Got Talent there. They were there in my group. I think they were like split into groups throughout the day.
Okay.
And watching them, they were amazing, very talented, and just like the entire day, I remember thinking like, what chance do I have? And then I remember thinking, well, it doesn't matter because if you get on TV, your name's out there.
Sure, yeah.
And you can use this forever. Like it's always good.
Yeah.
So then I remember throughout the day, you can hear the crowd going crazy, and you can hear the buzzer, and
right.
And finally, it's time for our group to go up, and we were the last group. So we go up, and I'm like waiting in the side rafters. I see it's just packed.
Yeah.
And I forget her name. She's like it's like a city TV hostess.
Okay.
Her name's like, I think it's. I can't remember her first name, but she did an interview with me. She did an interview with everybody, and then I remember walking out on the stage because they cut for a commercial break or whatever. And I go turn on my amp, and then I remember looking up at the crowd.
Yeah.
And then I didn't know anybody was there that knew me, so that I hear like, yeah, Ronnie.
Oh, that's cool.
So I was super nervous when I heard that. I was like, okay, well, at least one person knows what I'm about to do.
Yeah.
So then,
when you got Martin Short there as one of the judges too, which is bizarre, right?
That was
that's been surreal, yeah.
When I was a kid, I was watching Three Amigos.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
Just legendary, and like even Stefan Macchio, like he worked with like Miley Cyrus and stuff, like just really well respected people in the industry. So I went out there and did it, and I come across as really confident, but that was probably a blind confidence.
Right.
And I look back at that video now knowing that I could have played way better, but it doesn't matter. Like, I cracked a funny joke that got Martin Short to laugh.
Yeah, which is pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah, and I did my thing, and I think that's really all anybody can ever do is just go out there and do your thing.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we haven't really talked about your current project yet, so maybe we should we should go on that. I mean, this stuff is very interesting, especially that last bit about the reality show. But I mean, you have a band that you're fronting, that you're kind of currently pushing, right? Mm-hmm. Trying to get the name out. So when did that start?
Well, when it was Blackhearted, it started in 2013.
Okay.
And we kind of played around. We like opened for Sebastian Bach and Pop Evil, and we did some cool shows there. But the thing is like we changed the name, and we kind of changed our sound to like more of like a straight ahead rock thing.
Yeah. I certainly wouldn't expect. I mean, from what I've listened to online, it's not metal. I mean, it's a straight ahead rock and roll. I think is probably the best way to describe it.
Yeah. So that's what we're really pushing now. Is like we and our set isn't even totally rock all the way through. We have a ballad in there. We'll play anything. We're trying to be as versatile as possible. And I think it's really working. Like we have a single out now called Bang, which we recorded with Ryan. Like Ryan, our drummer, has set up at his place there,
cool.
And we recorded that song there. And we're recording a whole CD now.
Okay.
Of our own original music, and it's going really good. We're working hard, we're pushing, and I can see it building.
Right.
Yeah.
How long has it been under the current name? Like, it's pretty recent, right? Like, you just...
Yeah, pretty recent. Probably since the end of November. Yeah.
That's very recent, yeah.
Yeah.
So why did you change it? I mean, what was the reason behind, obviously your name is now in the name of the band, right? Was that because you've kind of achieved some notoriety and people know who you are? Is that sort of the reason? Or?
That was some of the reason, like, I was doing a lot of stuff outside the band, like I'd go do an acoustic set or something like that. And then it would be billed as like, oh, Ronnie Ladobruk did this, but then people don't know that my band was...
Right, because the name's not... Yeah,
so we decided we were going to switch it. We're going to use my name because it has some notoriety.
Whatever recognition you can get, right?
Yeah, and like, I hope that's not like an egotistical... It's just like, I'm always out there doing something regardless of what it is. So if people really want to hear my music, they can come and see me as...
Right, I guess if they're Googling you or something, right, it's like, oh, boom, there's the band right there. So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes sense. So when are you expecting to have the CD done?
Probably summertime is what we're going to aim for.
Okay.
But we're also...
Is it full length, or...?
Yeah, it's going to be like 9-10 songs.
Cool.
And we're gonna, but like right now we're really pushing live shows too. We're always working on our live show and stuff, and then it's all coming together. I see it, like I see the light at the end of the tunnel, and it's cool to see it all coming together now.
Right. So. How much time commitment do you give to that project? Because you also go to the band too, right? Mm-hmm. That seems to be playing fairly regularly too. So how do you divide the time between? Like, is it one of the main focus, or are they both sort of evenly getting your attention?
They're both evenly getting my attention. Like, that's all. I always say this to people, like, all I really have or do is music. This is like all I do. So I try to do my best to give attention to both bands. With Reckon, so we're doing lots of big shows.
Yeah.
Like we won Dauphin Country Fest.
Yeah, I saw that. It's pretty cool.
Year.
Super cool.
Yeah, it was super cool just being there, like in the Country Fest madness.
Yeah.
Like, what a great.
I've never actually been to it, but it's from what I've seen in pictures and stories and stuff. It sounds pretty crazy.
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah. People just have the time of their lives, and you get to see, like, it's cool for me growing up on country, like my dad listening to country. Getting to see like some of these players, and they're still as amazing as they were. For sure. Like, it's very inspiring as a musician, for sure.
Well, I guess that gives you opportunity too to play some different genres and different types of audiences too, as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what I love most about having the two projects. Is like with my own band, it's like more rock, borderline metal,
right?
And then we can do that, and then I can go to Reckon and do the southern rock,
right? And play a country festival or something. Yeah, exactly.
It's really sweet, and I notice like some people are like, you're gonna spread yourself
too thin.
You're gonna get too tired, and it's like, no, I live for this shit.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
I love it. If I had like 12 shows right now, I'd go do them and be happy.
Yeah. Well, I think that's kind of the mentality you need to take it somewhere, right? Because I mean, a lot of people are in bands, and it's kind of like, oh, this is my side thing I do when I have time, which is great too. Yeah. But obviously, I think the desire to want to be playing constantly is probably what makes people be able to do that as a job, right? That's to take it to that level versus just doing it as a hobby. And both are great, but be hungry for it, I guess.
Exactly, yeah. And I think I always use this term working musician. Like, I think right now where I'm at is I'm a working musician. Like, there's been many times where music has paid my rent and stuff.
Yeah.
I'll be eternally...
That's awesome, actually,
Yeah, it's surreal almost sometimes, and I'm eternally grateful because... like, I've definitely given a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, just like everybody has, right?
Sure.
But like, it's really cool to see it. I don't know if paying off is the right word, but it's like your hard work is really, it's showing.
What you put into it is coming out of it finally.
Yeah.
Cool. So do you have anything coming up, any big shows coming up, or with either of the bands, I guess? I mean, I know you have, you said summer is when the CD is going to be coming out, but what have you got in the next few months?
March 17th, we're at the Dramatic Arts Center with the Love Tongues and Slushhead. And Slushhead's really cool.
I like the name.
Yeah, it's a great name. And I used to teach at the School of Rock in Winnipeg. I was like one of the original teachers when it opened up. And one of my students, Henry, that's his band.
Oh, cool. And so are they very young? Like, is it young?
Yeah, I think most of them aren't even 18 yet.
Oh, wow.
So, like, this opportunity is really cool to give them a chance to play in front of an audience. Like, I know we're going to bring some people out who love music in our, like, the local scene.
Yeah.
They're going to get to see this young band play, and I love that idea.
It's very cool.
Like, with the School of Rock is doing such an amazing thing, and you see these young kids just playing music, and it's so inspiring. It's
For sure.
So I'm stoked on that.
And that's at the former Ellis Theatre?
Yeah.
I haven't been there. So have you been there since it was the Ellis Theatre? Like, I haven't seen it since probably 10 years now, but it was great then. Like, it was a really cool space then.
Yeah, we played there a couple years ago, and it was a great place, a very great place.
Yeah.
I look forward to it. That's going to be a really fun gig. Tickets go on sale. Well, I guess the show is March 17th. Tickets will be on sale. And then March 30th, we're playing with Johnny Two Fingers and the Deformities.
Okay, yeah.
And that'll be at the Merch in Selkirk.
Cool.
And then April 13th, Wreckin' So is playing at Nashville's with Greg Arcade.
Cool.
And Julie Ferguson.
Okay. How did you get involved with Greg Arcade? Because I mean, I see that he's done some of your graphic design. I recognize the style, and you played at his festival and stuff that he's been putting on. Like, how did you? I mean, obviously there's some connections with the country and some of the stuff you're saying about Reconso, but how did you first meet that guy?
First, I want to say Greg is like the nicest, probably one of the most hardworking guys I've ever seen in my life.
I've known him for about 10 years. He's been like that the whole time. So
that's awesome. Like it really shows with his work ethic and and his music is so great. Like Honky Tonk On.
Yeah, great song. Yeah,
I blast that song all the time. It's so good.
For sure.
But like it's really cool. I always heard his name around town, and it's really funny for me. I just want to say something before I go on to how I met Greg. It's really funny for me because over the years I've got to do all this cool stuff, and I've always been a fan first of music. So like to say now that I'm like friends with Greg Arcade, or like that I got to play, like I had the opportunity to play the MTS Center of the Burton Cummings theme. Just to say I'm able to be friends with these people and do this stuff is nuts for me, because I've always been a fan first. So
it's cool.
I never thought it'd be possible. So that it's cool. So whenever I can say Greg Arcade is my friend, I just smile because it's cool.
Well, the reason I ask how you met him is because it seems like one of the best things about the local music scene is making connections like that, where there's people who it's such a tight knit community, and people are always, I mean, with a few exceptions, I'm sure, people are always helping each other out, and then kind of, even if they're different genres of music or different age groups or whatever, there's definitely a lot of like people lifting each other up and saying like, hey, you want to get a show, and it's a big artist or something, right? Like bringing little bands, new bands on their bills and stuff. It's great. It's really cool. So
no, it's beautiful. And like guys like Greg, how I met Greg was I started going to Wee Johnny's when they had open mics.
Oh yeah, those things he did every week or whatever. Yeah.
Him and Jamie Buckborough would host them, and like you said, like Jamie and Greg always like they were so nice and kind to everybody who come out, and they always helped people. And I met Greg first there, and I remember started becoming friends with him there, and then just through the gradual motion of playing around and seeing each other and stuff, we started to become friends. And then Greg came with us to Country Fest this past year. Okay. And he did the video work. Like he filmed us and stuff, and then we played Howl at the Moon Fest that he puts on, and Rattlesnake Music Festival there.
Right on.
And it's just been through the scene and stuff, and I have so much respect for Greg and just everybody in the scene. Like it's amazing.
Yeah, it's cool that happens. I mean, I'm assuming like the same kind of thing happens in other cities, but Winnipeg seems like a particularly close group of people. I mean, whether it's a guy in a punk band and like a rapper and a guy in a country group, they all seem to know each other, and all seem to be, whether they like each other's music or not, at least supportive of the fact that like, oh, you're doing something cool, I'm gonna get out there and tell people to check it out, right? So
exactly,
which is kind of what the show is too, right? It's like the idea is like, hey, people are doing cool stuff, I want to know about it, and I also, if I can tell other people about it at the same time, while I'm learning about it too, it's cool. So one last thing I wanted to touch on is you've done a few podcasts yourself. So how often have you been doing that, and maybe just what is the show you've been doing? I do a thing called the Big Hair Big Licks podcast. It's because I have big 80s type hair. Right. I need the big licks.
Big licks. Well, I'm trying to, but it's just it started off kind of like interviewing just like really close friends that I knew who were kind of doing some cool stuff in the scene, and then this last episode I interviewed Derrick Godfrey from Harlequin because we opened up for them New Year's Eve. Okay.
That's the same guy from Harlequin that you had the story about earlier?
Yeah. So it's cool how it comes full circle. Totally, But like I plan on doing a few more. The next podcast I want to do is with this young kid in Selkirk. His name is Ian. I hope I'm saying his name right. Ian Walesiak. Okay. He's 12 years old. This kid is like a phenom. He plays guitar. He plays piano. Cool. This kid is awesome. And I've been very lucky coming up. Like, I grew up in Lockport, Selkirk area. Okay. I've been very lucky of having the support of my hometown there. Yeah. And people always building me up and sharing my stuff. And I want to give that back. So I'm going to interview Ian next. Cool. It's just really cool to to step outside the playing music part and hear about what everybody else is doing. I think the way you like my goal is to be a great musician, and hopefully that happens one day. Like I still have a lot of work to do, but I just want to be a good person. I think how you forming these friendships and bonds and stuff, like you work on both things there.
Totally. That's cool. One of the things I always liked about Selkirk, actually, is that a lot of bands from Selkirk seem to be very vocally from Selkirk, which I think is cool because, I mean, it's close enough that it's not, I mean, Winnipeg is right there, you know what I mean? But it seems to be like a definite, like, independence, kind of like, no, we're from Selkirk, we're not from Winnipeg, right?
No, exactly.
It's kind of cool. And there's other little small towns, too, and communities, like, in the vicinity that people are like, no, I'm not from Winnipeg, I'm from
this,
Yeah, which I always like that, because it's like, it's very... It's making yourself something specific and something different to kind of make you stand out, right? It's like, and Selkirk has a thing now. I mean, the merch has shows constantly, and there's like a lot of bands that's coming up, like the Bloodshots and stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's cool. It's neat to see.
Oh yeah, it's like the Bloodshots. Those guys are all good friends of mine. They're killing it. There's a new band from Selkirk called November Underground.
Okay.
Keep your eye on them. They're killing it too. And
back in the day, the Farrell Brothers.
Yeah, the Farrell Brothers.
And they always had Selkirk on the shirts. Everyone, you know, and we were all wearing the shirts too back then, right? And it's like we're from Selkirk. Even though I'm not from Selkirk, I had it on my shirt. So did everybody. Like,
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
There's definitely a pride of coming from Selkirk and playing music there. And it's really funny. The Farrell Brothers, Sean does all my girlfriend's tattoos.
Oh, right on.
So it's cool. Like I find everything's like 6 degrees of separation.
For sure. Yeah.
Cool.
Those guys are great too. That's one of my favorite local bands. Like the Farrell Brothers always have been. They're fantastic.
No, they're amazing for sure.
So if people are hearing you for the first time on the show, what's the best thing for them to do to find out more? Where should they go? Where should they find your music?
We have our single Bang. It's available on iTunes, Spotify, Apple Music. Just look up Ronnie Ladobruk and the Electric.
Cool.
Last name is Ladobruk.
Well, it'll be on the title of the episode too. So if people can't figure it out, they can just like check.
Just look at that.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then we have a Facebook page, Ronnie Ladobruk and the Electric.
I just liked it today.
Thank you very much. We have. I have Instagram. It's just Ronnie Ladobruk. I post like whatever on there, but. And then we got Twitter. It's at Ladobruk Music.
Cool.
I saw you post that.
Definitely.
Thank you. And then with Reconso, there's reconso.com.
Okay.
Then just look up Reconso on Facebook, and we've got our album Keep Talking on Spotify. And
I think I saw that in the store the other day too. And do you have that at Sunrise or?
Yeah, we do.
I saw it there. I was walking by. I was like, hey, cool.
No way. Is it at the one in Polo?
Yeah.
No way. That's a trip. That's cool.
I worked near the mall, so I was walking through, and I was like, I always look at the local section. I was curious who's got records in there, and I was like, oh, hey, cool. You guys were there. So.
No way.
Yeah. That was a while back. I'm not sure if it's still there. Maybe, but yeah, you were there at one point. Anyways,
hopefully it's sold out.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, well, if people want to hear more episodes of this show, they can go to witchpolice.com. There's 270 some by now. They're all there for free download and streaming. You can go back as far as 2012 if you want to. You can also hear our show on Sunday nights at midnight on UMFM, and those are like older episodes that get kind of a second life. So, I mean, it's mid-February now we're recording this, early February. Might not air till like July or something on UMFM, but it's cool because, we're talking about your album. Maybe by the time this comes on the air, the album's already out. People can just go get it. So
that'd be sweet.
It kind of works out well like that. So it's really awesome that UMFM kind of took on the show and decided to rebroadcast them because it opens up to a new audience, right? So
that's CKUW and UMFM.
Best stations in the city for sure. I love them. Yeah,
I love what they do for local music.
Definitely,
it's amazing.
Definitely. And like, of course, we're on all the social media. Witchpolice is pretty much going to get you the show for the most part. So
right on.
Awesome. Yeah, but people should definitely check out your single and stay tuned for the album and see you with one of your many projects live.
Right on. Thank you.
Awesome.
I just want to say thank you for having me on the show. I'm very grateful because I'm, like I said, I'm a fan first.
That's cool. Yeah.
Listening to your past shows with all my friends and stuff on them.
Yeah.
It's so cool to be on an episode. So thank you so much.
I'm glad you listen to them because I never know, right? I mean, I see numbers and stuff, but it's nice to hear from people who actually listen to the show, like in person. It's cool.
Cool. Yeah, no, it's what you do is amazing, awesome. and everybody is really grateful for it. So.
Cool. Well, thank you very much, and thanks again for doing the interview.
Thank you.